Y'all, we've been canning dry beans and I've already enjoyed a jar. Let me talk to you about the process that I used. Hello and welcome to Kim's Cozy Corner. I am going to be canning several different types of dry beans today with you. There are 4 different types of beans that we are going to can today together. Let me show you. I went to the store and I purchased some navy beans and some black beans because I didn't have any on hand. I already had a ton of pinto beans that I got from Azure Standard, and these are my Crowder peas that I got from the garden this year. Now we're not done shelling, there's still a whole bunch to shell, but we're going to do a few cans of this now. While we still tackle this basket plus what's in the garden. Now we are going to do a raw pack or a dry pack. We are not going to pre-soak our beans, but if you would prefer to pre-soak your beans, that is something you can do. It'll help remove some of those, I don't know what they call them, sugars or whatever, the stuff that causes gas. So if you want to pre-soak, go ahead and do that. My family doesn't have a hard time processing beans, so we're not going to worry about that step. But those are the 4 different types of beans that we are going to can today. And it's a super simple process that we're going to use. I'm going to use my new 23-quart digital Presto canner because I can double stack. And since I have wide mouth jars, I can get a total of 16 jars in the canner, where the other canner I can't get but 1 row of 8 jars, and that's it. So I'll be able to double stack in this canner. The first thing that I need to do though is I need to get all of these beans washed up. Whether you got them from the grocery store, you got them from your garden, you want to make sure they're clean, not necessarily soaked, but you want to make sure that they're clean before you start this very simple canning process. So we are going to get all the beans washed up. I'm going to get them in some containers over here, right here, and then I'll bring you back. So here are all of our washed beans. We have the black-eyed peas, the navy beans, the pinto beans, and our Crowder peas from the garden. So they're all washed, they're all ready to go. But the first thing that I need to do is warm my jars. I have 9 jars in there, I believe it is, that we're getting ready to warm. And then I had 3 that wouldn't fit, so I'm putting warm water in them and I'm warming them over there. I am going to be cooking all of my beans with a little bit of salted pork, which means we're going to cook these beans or pressure can these beans for 75 minutes. Here we are setting our canner up. So we want to pressure can for 75 minutes. If we were doing quart jars, it would be 90 minutes. So 75 minutes. And now I need to insert the jars to warm them. The jars are already in. I just need to put the lid on and we're good to go. So all of my jars are warm now, and so we are going to start filling each of the jars up with the different types of dry beans. Now I plan to season each and every one of my jars because I want to pull it out and I want it to be ready to use. So we will be seasoning. Some of my seasoning includes some black pepper, salt, garlic powder, onion powder, or what is this? Chopped onions is what we're going to put in here, and salted pork. Now I've already rinsed it off. I've cut it up into strips, but we will be putting 1 little strip of salted pork in each jar. So for me, that'll be ready to eat. I won't need to add anything to it. I'll be able to dump it out the jar, heat it up, and it's a meal ready to go or a side dish ready to go. So that's the plan. For each of the dry seasoning, I'm going to put a half teaspoon of each of the dry seasonings into each one of these. I will be doing the garlic and onion in the black-eyed peas only. If I had black beans, y'all, I would put all of this in my black beans. I'd spice it up a little bit, put some chili powder and that kind of stuff in there. But for everything else, usually we're only using salt, pepper, and some type of fat. And so we're going to do salted pork today. So let's start adding that seasoning first. And I've already measured my beans, so I know I got enough to do 3 of each. And we don't eat that many black-eyed peas. This will probably be a year's supply, y'all. I'm going to do 2 of the onion. I'll do 2. Because they're a flake and not a powder. And you can season to taste. Because we are pressure canning, you have choices. You have options. And we will be putting salt in every one of these jars. My salted pork was rinsed to rinse off some of that salt. It's going to cook in and it's still going to have some salt in there, so I don't want to over salt anything. My canner is staying warm while it's waiting on me to put these ingredients in there. I try to buy my seasonings when I have to in bulk from Azure Standard. I think that's everything. And now it's time to add the beans. I think I will add some onion flake to these as well. Just 1. Just keep in mind that you are seasoning to taste. So play around with it, find out what works for you, and then that's what you put in from a seasoning standpoint. Now, for each one of these jars, at the end of the day, you need to end up with at least an inch of headspace, a generous inch of headspace. And since I didn't pre-soak any of my beans, they're going to expand. So I am starting with, a heap and half cup, which is going to give me plenty of room to have that 1 inch headspace. Now, each one of these beans are going to swell differently. So only using a rounded half cup will take care of the difference. Let me get this out of here before I put beans in my pepper. So by only doing a half cup for each one of these pint jars will give me plenty of room, regardless of how each one of these expand as they're cooking. So these are from the garden. These are my Crowder peas. I have to add a few more to that one. That wasn't full. And I have just a few left in the bottom, and I will just equally distribute it. I know the jars can handle these few other beans. Apparently, I can't count. I'm trying to save every bean I had from the garden. Okay. So those 3 jars are ready to go. And now we'll do the same thing with the pintos all the way down, and I'll bring you back. Now we're going to add our fat. The only thing left to add to these jars is boiling water to the top. We will do that next and put the rims on. We are now wiping the rims of every jar. And I know I didn't get any fat on the outside of the rims, but you still wipe them anyway. You can use a little bit of vinegar as you're wiping the rims. That'll cut through any fat that might have been on there. It's time to put our lids on. So we have lids on all of our jars, and we are going to double stack them into the canner. I am going, just so I don't forget what I have, I am putting all of my beans from the garden and pintos on the bottom because they won't all fit on one level. Now I can hold up to 8 on the bottom, but I'm only going to put 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm only putting 6 because we're going to double stack. And so I'm going to put the other 6 up here. That way I can keep them separated. And that's one of the features of this canner that I really like. Because of the height, I can double stack these jars. So let me get the lid on and let me get this thing started. Now, while this is getting ready to do its thing, and it's going to go a long time today, but it's first got to heat up to pressure, and it's going to stay at pressure for 10 minutes. And then it's going to ask me to add the regulator, and then it's going to cook for 75 minutes. So this is going to be a very long process. Now, this 23-quart canner heats up the kitchen. It absolutely does. The other one doesn't, but this one heats the kitchen up. And the outside gets very hot. I almost burnt myself. But the outside gets very hot as well. So we're going to let it do its thing. While it's doing its thing, quite a few of you asked, how can you can your leafy greens, you know, your collard, or your, what is it called? Your collards and mustard greens and turnip greens and that kind of stuff with seasoning. I believe this would work as well for those. You want to put a piece of fat in there. So I use salted pork. I'll try a few later in the season when I harvest some that we're not eating. But also I had a request to do like a 5-bean or 4-bean or something like that, where you mix a whole bunch of beans together. All of your dried beans are going to cook the same way. And the recipe is in the Ball Book of Canning if you want to use that one. But it does not include using fat. If you're going to use fat, you definitely want to go up to the 75 minutes. At least I know it doesn't include using the fat. I don't remember the time. But we're going to cook for 75 minutes. I'll bring you back and I'll show you the outcome of our product. Hi, everybody. This video is coming much later than when I ended the canning process for all of the different beans. So let me show you what I have. I had to pull it back down from the cabinet. When I went to edit the video, y'all, it just wasn't there. I think I deleted it. I don't know, but I'm redoing the ending of this video. So let me show you. I canned these beans on September 19th. Today is October 10th. So it's been a minute, y'all, since I canned these beans. But anyway, for the Crowder peas, these are the Crowder peas that came from my garden. And I think I did really good on 1/2 cup of beans during the pressure canning process. So I think this is really, really good. When I get to the pintos, I probably need to back off just a little bit to maybe somewhere between 1/4 cup and 1/2 cup, because it's thick, y'all. It's really thick. And now don't get me wrong, I like a nice thick sauce with my beans, but y'all, that's a little too thick. Same thing for the black-eyed peas. I think I need to back off just a little bit. There's plenty of peas in here, but there's hardly no liquid, and they're all like that. And I don't believe, looking at the water when I pressure canned them, I don't believe I had an issue with the water level. I just think the peas soaked up the water. So in order for them not to soak up all the water, I got to put fewer peas and fill it all the way up with water so that they're not too dry. And then navy beans. Yeah, y'all, you see one missing, don't you? There's one missing. I did 3. I am down to 2 because we've already enjoyed one of these. The navy beans are just like the black-eyed peas. They swell more. So if I had soaked the beans, I would have known just how much they were going to swell, and I wouldn't have had that issue with very little liquid in the jar. But y'all, These were good. They didn't need no liquid. I just put them in a bowl, put them in a microwave, heated them up, and they were perfectly seasoned. So everything I believe will be perfectly seasoned because I use the same seasoning pretty much for everything. But y'all, that is the canning process for many different types of dry beans. The navy beans are already delicious. Black-eyed peas, we're going to back off just a little bit. The pintos, we're going to back off just a little bit of the beans. And the Crowder peas are looking really, really good. So I have 3 jars. But y'all, I'm still working on Crowder peas. I still have a whole jar here that I'm working on shelling. So I got a pile here. I got a pile there. And y'all, there's more in the garden. So we will be doing another canning project to make sure we preserve all of those Crowder peas once I pull them all in. It's getting cooler at home now. So I'll grab the rest of those from the garden and we'll do all of them as one project by itself. But yeah, you asked for a 5-bean canning project. I gave you 4 different types of beans, but they're separate. And I just wanted to show that these are canned, fully seasoned per the recipe, and they came out amazing. 1/2 cup of dry beans, just under a half. Well, that was a heap and 1/2 cup, I think is what it was. This will be just a little under, and a little under, and we will be perfect for the next batch. And y'all, I paid $1 and some change for a 16 ounces or 1 pound bag of beans for all of these beans here, $1 or $2. And I got all of this for $1 or $2. So there are ways to feed your family healthy, knowing what's been put in your preserves or what preservatives you're putting in your jars, but you don't necessarily have to grow it from your garden. The Crowder peas are from the garden, but I just bought dried beans from the store. And I could have got a bigger bag of dry beans and still could have saved a ton of money, but for $1, 3 jars. Oh, actually, no, because I didn't use all the beans. I didn't make all the beans. I made about half the bag. So it would have been about 6 of these for $1 and some change. So here we go. Thank you for joining me for this canning process. I'm sorry it took me so long to get through this canning process, but I'd just like to show you everything that I'm doing. Now, I'm going to be doing some more canning. I got some other projects I want to show you, but let me know in the comments some other things you want me to can. And if I've never canned them before, I'll do my research and I'll see the right way to can it just for you. So until next time, and I hope there will be a next time that you hang out with me at Kim's Cozy Corner. Bye.